Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Maayong buntag sa inyong tanan. Naa mga Bisaya sa audience? Naa. Okay. Maayong buntag. Gabi na pala. Sorry. Yan. Okay. Peke man ko na Bisaya. Urig, no? Anyway, kahit hindi ka panipaniwala, pag tinignan niyo yung mukha ko tsaka mukha ni Ikoy, hawak ko yung mic ngayon. Nag-abot kami sa singles ministry. Would you believe it? I saw Ikoy get baptized in one of the retreats that we organized. Nauna lang naman ako ng 3 paligo kay Ikoy sa singles. Anyway, how many of you are excited sa topic ngayong gabi? Raise your hand. You're excited. Okay, yung mga hindi nagtataas ng kamay, ba't kayo nandito? Okay, tanungin mo kay katabi mo, sabihin mo sa katabi mo, excited ka ba? Okay, pag-ibig ang pinag-usapan, alam niyo, panahon pa namin, sinabi nga ni Ikoy sa inyo, no? Panahon pa namin, pag love, courtship, and marriage ang topic, walang kupas yan sa singles. So, kung ano yung totoo noon, totoo pa rin hanggang ngayon. So, how many of you see yourself getting married one day? You see yourself getting married? Keep raising your hand. I wanna see. Okay. Okay, Ikoy. The harvest is plentiful, ha? Okay, thank you. Okay, so karamihan sa atin would like to get married. And those of you who raise your hand, I mean this from the bottom of my heart when I tell you, I want you to marry well. Can you tell the person beside you, I'd like you to marry well? Yan. Okay. So, I would like to share some secrets from the Bible that would allow you to marry well. Okay, graduate na ako dun sa face na yun eh. Si Ikoy, nandun pa siya. Okay, so, hindi na ako ma-invite uli dito. Okay, so, let's look at this story which is not very popular, okay? Ruth and Boaz. How many of you are familiar with their love story? Raise your hand. You're familiar with the love story of Ruth and Boaz. Okay. And may I offer to you that the story of Ruth and Boaz found in the book of Ruth, tama, very good. Which is pang ilang book sa Bible? Okay. Tells about, read with me, God's love and look at the screen. God's love and man's loyalty can turn tragedy to triumph. Sino sa inyo ang nabigo na sa pag-ibig? Okay. So, hindi ko ipapakwento sa inyo yung kabiguan nyo. Okay? Okay. Who among you would like to triumph in pag-ibig? Raise your hand. Yan. Okay. Do you believe me when I tell you God wants you to triumph in your love life? Yes? Because God is love. That's right. He's the author of love. And that's why pag nagsalita siya tungkol sa love, pag nagkwento siya tungkol sa love, dapat makinig tayo. Tama ba? Okay. So, here's a short quiz. I'd like you to answer. Mabilis to ha. Paunahan to. Okay? Tell me the right answer as I flash the question on the screen. Titignan ko kung talagang you're paying attention sa mga love stories sa Bible. So, 10 ways to find a wife in the Bible. Gentlemen, are you familiar with this? Hindi. Kaya pala single pa rin kayo. Okay. So, ladies, gusto niyong malaman? Paano? Gusto niyo ba malaman? Paano nahuhuli yung mga ladies sa Bible? Would you like to know? Ayaw niyo yata? Sige, wag na. Okay, gusto niyo? Okay, so, read with me. When you see someone you like, go home and tell your parents, I've seen a woman, now get her for me. If your parents question you, simply say, get her for me, she's the one for me. Di ba last week lang yan? Okay, oh. Okay, number 2. Find a man with 7 daughters and impress him by watering his flocks. Saan natin makikita to? Okay, si Moses. That's right, sa Exodus. Okay. Number 3. Go to a party and hide. Nagawa nyo na yan? Hindi pa? Okay. Alam nyo kung ano kasunod? When the women come out to dance, what? Grab one and carry her off to be your wife. Okay. Okay yung kung Benjaminite ka. Okay. Number 4. Okay, you will talk about this next week. Okay? Find a prostitute. Ano susunod? Marry her. Hosea. Okay, number 5. Have God create you a wife while you sleep. O saan to makikita? Okay, Genesis, Adam. Okay, the first lesson of the series. Okay, number 6. Read with me. Agree to work 7 years in exchange for a woman's hand in marriage from her father. Gentlemen, payag kayo doon? Ayaw nyo yata eh. Ayaw nyo. Okay, ano katuloy? Get tricked into marrying the wrong woman, then work another 7 years for the woman you wanted to marry in the first place. That's right. 14 years to get your wife. Saan natin makikita to? To prove kung talagang mahal mo yung babae, di ba? Sino yun? Si Jacob. Okay, we find that in Genesis. Okay, number 7. Gentlemen, let's read. Cut off 200 foreskins of your future father-in-law's enemies. Kaya nyo yun? And you get his daughter for a wife. Okay, sino to? Okay, David, and it is found in 1 Samuel 8:27. Number 8. Become the emperor of a huge nation. Kayang-kaya, di ba? Madali lang. And hold a beauty contest. Okay. Okay, number 9. Number 9. For the ladies. Ladies, read. Okay, meron ba kayong makikitang ganyan? Lay down at his feet. Then when he wakes up, ask him to marry you. Okay? Chapter 3 ng Ruth. Okay, we're gonna talk about them tonight. Okay, number 10, last. Okay, wait for a close relative to die, then take his widow. Okay, that's Boaz. Okay, that's the unusual love story tonight. You see, the book of Ruth is fascinating because it is one of the most impossible love stories you will ever find in the Bible. And would you like to know why I say it's impossible? Huh? Would you like to know? Okay. So I'd like you to watch this video closely, and I'd like you to bring out your pen and write down, okay? Write down particular characteristics that you think made the characters successful. Okay? Paano sila nag-triumph? Okay? Okay, can we play the video?
The Book of Ruth. It's a brilliant work of theological art, and it invites us to reflect on the question of how God is involved in the day-to-day joys and hardships of our lives. There are 3 main characters in the book: Naomi, the widow, Ruth, the Moabite, and Boaz, the Israelite farmer. And their story is told in 4 chapters that are beautifully designed. Let's just dive in and see how this all unfolds. Chapter 1 opens with this line: in the days when the judges ruled. And it reminds us of the very dark and difficult days from the book of Judges. And here we meet an Israelite family in Bethlehem, struggling to survive through a famine. And so in search of food, they move on to the land of Moab, Israel's ancient enemy. And there the father of the family dies, and the sons marry 2 Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah. And then the sons, they die too. And so they leave only Naomi and these new daughters-in-law. And so Naomi, she has no reason to stay anymore. And so she tells her new daughters-in-law that she's moving back home. And Naomi, she knows that the life of an unmarried foreign widow in Israel is going to be very hard. And so she compels the women to stay behind. Orpah agrees, But Ruth does not. She shows remarkable loyalty to Naomi, and she says, wherever you go, I'm going to go. Your people will become my people, and your God will become my God. And so the two of them return to Israel together. And the chapter concludes with Naomi changing her name to Mara, which means bitter in Hebrew, and she laments her tragic fate.
Okay. Can we
Chapter
pause the
2
video?
begins with
Pause the
Naomi
video, please.
and Ruth.
Okay. So, how did you find the introduction, the first chapter? It's a tragedy, right? Okay. I'd like you to ask the person beside you, if you were Ruth, what would you do? Would you be a Ruth or an Orpah? Okay, si Orpah, sabi niya, okay, kayo na lang, I am leaving. But Ruth, ano sabi niya? Ruth showed remarkable loyalty, hindi ba? Your God will be my... Remember, Ruth is not an Israelite. Ruth is a Moabite. She was a Moabite. But she says to Naomi, who is an Israelite, sabi niya, your God will be my God, and your people will be my people. Wherever you go, I will go. Grabe yung loyalty niya. Okay, grabe yung loyalty niya. Would you like to know what happens next? Okay, can we continue?
It's discussing where they're going to find food. And it just so happens to be the beginning of the barley harvest. And so Ruth goes out to look for food, and it just so happens that she ends up picking grain in the field of a man named Boaz, who just so happens to be Naomi's relative. We're told that Boaz is a man of noble character, and he notices Ruth. And so after finding out more about her story, he shows remarkable generosity to her. He makes these special provisions so that the immigrant Ruth can gather grain in his field. And in doing so, Boaz is actually obeying an explicit command of the Torah to show generosity to the immigrant and the poor. Boaz is so impressed by Ruth's loyalty to Naomi. He prays for her that God will reward her for her boldness. So Ruth comes home that day, and Naomi finds out that she met Boaz, and she is thrilled. She says Boaz is their family redeemer. Now, this family redeemer thing, this was a cultural practice in Israel where if a man in the family died and he left behind a wife or children or land, it was the family redeemer's responsibility to marry that widow, to take up the land and protect that family. So Naomi, she begins to hope that perhaps there might still be a future for her family. Chapter 3 begins with Naomi and Ruth making a plan to get Boaz to notice their situation. So Ruth is going to stop wearing clothes of a grieving widow, and she's going to show signs that she's available to be married. And so Ruth goes to meet Boaz on the farm that night. And as she approaches, Boaz wakes up and he's totally startled. And Ruth makes her intentions very clear. She asks if Boaz will redeem Naomi's family and marry her. Boaz is once again amazed by Ruth's loyalty to Naomi and her family, and he calls Ruth a woman of noble character. It's the same term used to describe the woman of Proverbs 31. So Boaz tells Ruth to wait until the next day, and he will redeem both Ruth and Naomi legally before the town elders. And so the chapter ends with Ruth returning to Naomi, and they marvel together at all of these recent events. In chapter 4, it all comes together. It turns out, at the last minute, Boaz discovers there is a family member who's closer to Naomi than he is, and he's actually eligible before him to redeem the family. But at the last second, this family member finds out that he's going to have to marry Ruth, the Moabite, and so he declines. But Boaz, remember, he knows Ruth's true character, and so he acquires the family property of Naomi, and he marries Ruth. And so just at the beginning, how Ruth was loyal to Naomi's family, so now Boaz is loyal to Naomi's family as well. The story concludes with a reversal of all of the tragedies from chapter 1. So the death of the husband and the sons is reversed as Ruth is married again and gives birth to a new son, granting joy to Naomi. And this symmetry between the opening and the closing, it's even more remarkable. So remember, the opening tragedy was followed by a great act of loyalty on the part of Ruth. And that is now matched by Boaz's act of loyalty that leads to the family's final restoration. And this symmetry, it highlights the design of the internal chapters as well. So each of the chapters begins with Naomi and Ruth making a plan for their future, and that's followed by a providential meeting between Ruth and Boaz, and each chapter concludes with Naomi and Ruth rejoicing at what's taken place. This story is beautifully designed, and that design actually connects with a really interesting feature of the story, and that's how little God is mentioned. Right? The characters talk about God a few times, but the narrator actually never once mentions God doing anything directly in the story, and that's its brilliance. Because God's providence is at work behind every scene of this story, weaving together the circumstances and choices of all these characters. So Naomi, her tragedy leads her to think that God is punishing her, but actually the whole story is about God's mission to restore her and her family. And he's doing so through Ruth, through her boldness and loyalty, which brings healing to Naomi's life, but not without Boaz, who's a no-nonsense farmer who's full of generosity and loyalty. And so God uses his integrity combined with Ruth's boldness to save Naomi and her family. And so this story brilliantly explores the interplay of God's purposes and will with human decision and will. God weaves together the faithful obedience of his people to bring about his redemptive purposes in the world. And that leads to the real end of the story. The book of Ruth concludes with a genealogy, showing how Boaz and Ruth's son, Oved, was the grandfather of King David, from whom came the lineage of the Messiah. And so all of a sudden, these seemingly mundane, ordinary events in this story are woven into God's grand story of redemption for the whole world. And so the book of Ruth invites us to consider how God might be at work in the very ordinary, mundane details of our lives as well. And that's what the book of Ruth is all about.
Do you ever find yourself thinking, just another day, another small decision I need to make, whether I will meet this person or not? Sometimes you think that the small decisions that you make are inconsequential. But what the book of Ruth teaches us is no decision is inconsequential in the hands of a sovereign God. And so, you see, the turning point in the story happened at the very beginning when Ruth said, read with me, "For where you go, I will go. And where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God will be my God." That critical decision made the difference of Ruth's life. Because in that tragic moment, she chose to be loyal to whom? To God. That's right. In that tragic moment, she chose to be loyal to God. She chose to trust God. The question to you and to me is, when tragedy strikes my life, to whom am I loyal to? Can you ask that to the person beside you? To whom are you loyal to? Especially when the going gets tough, right? Okay. Because look at her determination. Read with me. Sabi niya, "Where you die, I will die, and there I will be" what? Buried. "Thus may the Lord do to me, and worse, if anything but death parts you and me." Remarkable loyalty. And she proves that as the story unfolds. Di ba? Nakita natin. And so, you see, ladies, do you admire Ruth? Okay, if there's one character in Ruth that you would like to have, what character would that be? Can you tell the person beside you? What character? Gentlemen, if there's one character you're looking for in a woman that you will marry that's found in Ruth, what character is that? Can you tell the person beside you? Oh, may natidinig ako. Ano? Ano yun? Loyalty. Okay. And that's true. Ruth is remarkably what? Loyal. Okay. Tanungin mo sa katabi mo, are you loyal? Are you loyal? Especially when the going gets tough, that's when loyalty is tested. Yes or no? Yes. Because it's easy to say, I am loyal during good times. Pero pag bad times na, true loyalty is proven. Yes or no? How many of you would like to marry somebody who will be loyal to you for the rest of your life? Raise your hand. Everyone. Of course. Di ba? So, if I tell you how you can find a partner who is loyal, would you do it? Do you want to find out? Here's the secret. Listen carefully. Say with me, loyal. That's right. If you want a partner who is loyal, who needs to be loyal first? Me. Because it is unfair to ask God to give me a partner who is loyal if I myself am not loyal. Yes or no? Yes. Is God honored when we are loyal to Him? Yes or no? And that's why that's the first characteristic you and I should develop towards God first. Because when we're loyal to God, He can turn around the tragedy sa buhay natin. Alam niyo ba yan? That's what's remarkably obvious dito sa story na to, hindi ba? Okay, another characteristic. Ano ba yung napansin natin? She is also what? Loving. Loving. Can you rate yourself from 1 to 4? How loving are you? Loving. Gentlemen, do you want a wife that's loving? Yes or no? Of course. Oh, nadinig niyo, ladies, loving. Okay, next. Faithful. Okay, can you rate yourself, ladies, 1 to 4? How faithful are you? Faithful. Faithful means trusting God even when it's tough. Okay? Obeying Him even when you don't like to obey Him. That's faithfulness. Okay. Siyempre, pag faithful ka, ang byproduct nun ay obedience. Okay, yun ang evidence ng faithfulness. Alam niyo ba yun? Mag-asawa yan. Si faithful at si obedient. Hindi ko pwedeng sabihin faithful ako, pero hindi naman ako sumusunod. Yes or no? Yes. Di ba contradiction yun? Lord, I'm so faithful. Why is this happening to me? Eh, hindi ka kaya sumusunod. Di ba sabi ko, huwag kang tumawid doon? Kaya ka nasagisaan. Okay. Ano pa napansin natin kay Ruth? Humble. Is Ruth humble? You see, humble people obey. And there's a very good promise in the Bible that says what? God is opposed to the proud, but, ano katuloy? Gives grace to the who? The humble. If you're humble, are you gonna obey? You see, when we're not obeying God, it shows that we are full of pride. And when we do that, He's not on our side. He's not. Sayang, di ba? Okay. Ano pa? Hardworking. Okay. Hindi na masyadong na-feature dun sa video, but there's a portion there when you read the book of Ruth that she worked all day, and the report to Boaz from the foreman was that she was there in the morning and hardly took any break. And in fact, she brought home a lot of the harvest for Naomi so that they can share the food together. So, gentlemen, how many of you would like to marry somebody who is hardworking? Raise your hand, gentlemen. Yung mga hindi nagtataas na kamay, gusto nyo tamad, asawa nyo? Okay, ladies, hardworking. Okay, ano ba? Respectful. Napansin nyo ba yan? Respectful? Okay, gentlemen, importante ba ang respect? Yes or no? Gentlemen, parang hindi importante sa inyo respect. Gentlemen, yes. Okay. Ladies, I'm giving you tips, ha? Okay. So, ilan ang score natin? Are you scoring yourself? 1 to 4 for each of that. Ha? Ilan na score natin? Perfect score is what? 7 times 4 is 28. Okay, so. Okay? Are you looking at the list? Okay. Ito yung sinasabi nung Bible that Ruth was a woman of noble character. Wow. Sabi nung yung mga katabi mo, would you like to be called as a person of noble character? Yes. Okay, so that's how a person of noble character looks like. Okay, what about si Boaz? Boaz here is the kinsman redeemer. What does that do? That means he is a very responsible person. Ladies, how many of you would like to marry a very responsible man? Raise your hand. Yung mga hindi nagtataas na kami, okay lang sa inyo yung tamad, yung buong araw nagkakon lang siya, nag-Xbox. Okay lang sa inyo. Okay. A kinsman redeemer is a relative. Ang trabaho niya is to take care of a disadvantaged family member. Yun. That's found in the Bible. Okay? So, sometimes, the kinsman redeemer would need, in the Old Testament, to avenge a murdered relative who is disadvantaged. Okay? Or marry somebody, a widow, in this case, si Ruth yun, naging widow siya, who is what? Childless, okay, with a deceased brother. Kasi no one will take care of the widow anymore. Okay? Tapos ano pa? Redeeming the land that is sold. That's the job of a kinsman redeemer. And redeeming what? Family members who are sold into slavery. Uso pa yun nun. Yung, kung may utang ako, hindi ko mabayaran, I will work for you until mabayaran yung utang. So I'm sold as a slave. Remember Joseph? He was sold by his what? Brothers as a slave. Okay, so the kinsman redeemer is supposed to what? Redeem the relative. Okay, hindi ibig sabihin nito pwede na kayong mangutang, ha? Okay, and then number 5 is what? Caring for the hopeless and the needy family. So mapapansin nyo, yung kinsman redeemer is an embodiment of a very responsible man. Yan ang tunay na lalaki. Sabihin mo sa katabi mo, pare, tunay na lalaki ka ba? Okay. The definition of the Bible of a true man is somebody who is, tell the person beside you, responsible. Yes, yun yung number 1 characteristic ng isang tunay na lalaki sa Bible, responsible. Even in the story of Adam, remember? Sino ang unang kinausap ni God after the fall? Adam. Why? Because the man is what? Responsible. That's right. Responsible. Okay, so, gentlemen, would you like to know ano yung mga characteristics ni Boaz? Yes? That will make you successful in your love life? Parang ayaw niya. Okay, tingnan natin. So, tinignan natin, yung number 1 is to be responsible. Oh, gentlemen, 1 to 4. Rate yourself. Are you responsible? 1 to 4. Anong score? Are you rating yourself? Oh, rate yourself. 1 to 4. Responsible ba ako? Okay. Number 2. Leader. Okay, leader. Boaz was a leader. Okay? Ano pa? He's a generous provider. Napansin nyo how generous he is? Okay? And then, ano pa? Kind. Ladies, would you like to marry somebody who is kind? Yes. Who is a generous provider? Uy, mas malakas yun ah. Yes! Yung platinum, ang credit card na ibibigay sa'yo? We need to pray for this audience. Iba, intindi nila. Okay, ano ba? Protective. Okay, did you notice that in chapter 3, something weird happened there? Napansin nyo? Anong ginawa ni Ruth? Pumunta siya sa threshing floor, sa paanan niya, habang natutulog si Boaz, at anong ginawa niya? Inangat niya yung robe niya. Doon sa paa lang, ha? Hindi all the way. Sa paa lang. Gentlemen, may gumawa na sa inyo nun? Wala pa? Wala pa. Okay, mabuti naman. Kasi that's an old cultural practice. Okay. Because Ruth is following the instruction of Naomi according to the tradition of the Jews of the kinsman-redeemer practice. So, if the man agrees, what the man will do is he will now cover the woman with the robe. We still do that today. Have you ever attended a wedding? What happens in a wedding? Di ba merong veil, which is over the head of the woman, but it's only on the shoulder of the man. We still do that today. You see that? Okay. So, and yet, napansin nyo, Boaz never took advantage of Ruth. Di ba? Boaz remained pure. Because he's a leader who loves God. Kuha nyo? Ladies, would you like to meet a man who is pure? Yes. Parang tatlo lang yung sumagot. Yes? Is purity important? Yes. Okay. And then, lastly, we know that Boaz is what? Faithful. You know why? He did not manipulate the circumstances. He followed the tradition. He gathered the council. And he informed the closer kinsman redeemer. Di ba merong isa who is closer than him? So may first priority yon. Only when that person declined that he took on the responsibility. Nakuha niyo? Hindi na minanipulate. So makikita mo, it takes faithfulness to God, to trust God, to work out the details. You don't need to manipulate in order to triumph in your love life. And that's a Boaz. Gentlemen, how many of you would like to be a Boaz? Raise your hand. Ladies, tignan nyo mabuti. Sino mo nagtataas ng kamay? Yung mga hindi nagtataas ng kamay, tignan nyo mabuti. Okay. So, gentlemen, how are you doing in your score? Okay, and that's what the Bible calls a man of noble character. Noble character. That's right. So, as we close, can I summarize for us some of the love lessons? Okay? Read with me. Loyalty and love for God leads to unimaginable reward. Would you like that? Yes. God rewards those who are loyal and loving to Him. Okay. But I have to do my part. You have to do your part. Pangalawa, read with me. Circumstances and emotions should not discourage you from doing what is right. You see, the story begins with unfavorable circumstances. Yes? Naomi had a very negative emotion. Di ba? Kaya nga sabi niya, don't call me Naomi anymore. Call me Mara, which means bitter. And yet, she did not allow circumstances and even her bitterness to dictate what she will do next. Yes or no? In fact, she guided, sino? Si Ruth, right? Of what she needs to do. Okay, lastly, read with me. Develop your character more than your... One more time. Develop your character more than your... Okay, saan natin makikita to? Makikita natin to sa chapter 3. Napansin nyo, ano ang advice ni Naomi kay Ruth? Ayusin niya yung sarili niya, di ba? Tanggalin niya na yung kanyang grieving clothes, right? And put on perfume, put on a nice clothes. Ladies, if the house needs painting, you paint it. Nakuha niyo ibig sabihin? Gentlemen, if you need to brush your teeth, brush your teeth. Nakuha niyo ibig sabihin? Okay. Pero, wag yung panglabas lang, wag lang physicality, marketability, ang focus natin. Okay? Kasi, mas importante yung character. That's right. Character is what? More important. Can I tell you my love story? As I close? Okay. I have been a single for a very long time, more than I'm married. My wife is right there. Okay, she's seated there. Okay. Can you please stand, Han, so that they can see you? Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, that's my better half. Okay. Si Melanie. Okay? So, we've been married for 5 years now. I am the bitter half. She's the better half. Okay. So, alam nyo po, I married at a late age. I married at the age of 39. Alam ko, hindi halata. Okay lang. at the age of 39. So that means, majority of my life, I am single. Yes? Okay. And you see, when I was here at St. Francis, nasa St. Francis, nasa Pasig na pala, nasa ko na pala tayo, hindi na pala to St. Francis, CCF Center na. Ganun na ako katagal. Anyway, okay. When I was single, just like you are right now, okay, of course, I dated also. I also did my part. I increased my marketability also. Okay. And so, there was this lady that I really liked in ministry. When I was still single here. And we served together in the same ministry. Diyan nagkaka-developan yan sa ministry. Okay. So, it was the right environment. Yes? Okay. It was the right environment. That's where you meet the right people. The people who have a heart for God. That's why they're there. Don't join ministry because gusto nyo may mamit, ha? That's not what I'm saying. Okay? Okay. So, we were serving together in ministry, and I kind of like her. I think she kind of likes me kasi sumama sa kape. Nagkape kami. Okay. And I'm so cheap, Dunkin' Donuts lang kami. Anyway, so we kind of like each other, pero may complication in the love story. Because even though we like each other, I think given their background, the father might not approve. Because culturally, ang gusto nung kanila is also another, sige, sasabihin ko na, Chinese siya. Ako, nagpapanggap lang na Chinese. Okay, so they come from that kind of family. And I have nothing against that. I understand that totally. But we decided early on, whatever your parents say, susundin natin. Whether they will agree or not. There's tension, di ba? In the love story, right? Okay. So, but we like each other. And so, we did not allow ourselves to be more involved or invested emotionally until she talks to the father. Kasi there's no point, di ba, in becoming emotionally entangled when you know that God uses the parents to tell you and me whether this is the relationship for you and me. Hindi enough yung we like each other. Hindi pwedeng yun lang ang basis. Okay? Okay? You need to get the blessing of the parents. Okay. Importante yan. Okay. You have to be loyal to God regardless. To His principles also. And so, that faithful night came, she asked the father. Guess ano yung sagot? No. So I started singing, why you wanna be so rude? Don't you know I'm human too? Hindi, wala pa yun. Hindi pa nare-release yung kanta na at that time. Okay, so this is way back before Rude came out. Okay, so anyway, so di ba, for a while talaga, oh my gosh. Okay, preno, right? Lord, okay naman, bakit hindi? So, he kept praying. And she asked again, and the answer is still, why you wanna be so rude? Anyway, we moved on. Okay, we moved on. So, long story short, we did not end up with each other. And I busied myself with the ministry. Sinabi ni Ikoy kanina, I'm part of the GLC. and so I busied myself with that and put my love life on the parking garage dun sa sub-level 5. Okay. And so, one day, Omar comes to me. You know Pastor Omar? Okay. Omar comes to me and says, hey, there's an invitation for us to speak sa Cagayan de Oro. The singles there would like us to speak. So sabi ko, Ano? Cagayan de Oro? Saan yun? Hindi ko alam saan yung Cagayan de Oro. But actually, ayokong pumunta. So alam nyo, anong sinasabi ng mga Christians pag ayaw nilang pumunta? I will pray about it. Okay, so I will pray about it. Ever heard that answer? Okay. Ginamit na sa inyo yun, no? Okay, so I will pray about it. Okay. But really, in my heart, I didn't want to go. We were rushing GLC because that was the year we were gonna launch GLC. So ganun nakatagal. We celebrated 10 years a few weeks ago. Okay, but I told Omar nicely, I will pray about it. Okay, so, sige I need to come back to you next week dahil they need to book the ticket. We need to go. Okay, so when I was doing my quiet time that week, God spoke to me. Sabi niya, Mel, I gave you a gift. I gave you a ministry that I don't give everyone else. Why are you, turning this down when I am entrusting you with this? And so nung bumalik si Omar, guess ano na yung sagot ko? Yes. So I told Omar, yes, I have one condition. May condition? Yes. Pwede bang mag-stay tayo ng extra day after the retreat? Sabi niya. Bakit? Sabi niya. Because I wanna go river rafting. Napaka-spiritual ng sagot ko, di ba? I wanna go river rafting. Uy, gusto ko rin yun. Sabi niya, sige. Okay, so they called Cagayan de Oro, they booked the ticket. We had a fun time speaking at the retreat. And guess who was in the retreat? I did not know then that she would become my future wife. I did not know. It was farthest from my mind. My disposition then was go there, do the retreat, speak on the retreat, have a fun time river rafting, go back home, finish GLC. That was in my mind. But you see how God interweaves all of those things. But you need to be loyal. Can we show the PowerPoint? You need to be loyal to God. Because you'll never know around the bend what He has in store for you and for me. Long story short, the woman that I met in that retreat became my girlfriend later on. And after 4 years of courtship, she said yes. And we're now married for 5 years, going 6. But you see, when my heart was getting broken by that first incident, she's also married now, happily with kids. To the right man for her. Hindi ko inisip yun. But you see how God is so good to us when we stay loyal to Him. That's true for me as it is true for you, as you are a child of God. And if you're not yet sure whether you are His child, why don't you take this time now to come to Him? Because even with, I'm down to my last slide. Can you show my PowerPoint? PowerPoint? PowerPoint. There, okay. Because some of you might be thinking, my life is a tragedy, my life is when nothing is happening. And I'd like to triumph in this thing called Pag-ibig. Right? And yet, sometimes it gets so confusing, I don't know what to do next. But here's the thing. Remember that there is a sovereign God who lovingly redeems you and me. And our responsibility is to what? Loyally what? Obey Him. Because when we obey Him, that demonstrates that we really trust Him. And He can turn what seems to be a tragedy to become a triumph. That's the story of Ruth and Boaz, as it is a story of mine, as it is your story. But you hold the ball. Because God has a part, and I have a part also. Yes or no? Okay. You see, the first person you need to be loyal to is not that person that you like. The first person you need to be loyal to first is who? See God. Yes? Okay. So can I leave you with these 4 truths to consider how you can be loyal to God? Number 1, okay, can you tell the person beside you, God loves you. And that's why truth number 2 is what? Even though we have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, He provided a solution. Truth number 3. Sino yan? Si Jesus. That's right. God's solution to man's problem of separation because of sin is Jesus Christ. To prove that He really loves you and me in spite of our sin. Yes or no? And man's proper response to that gracious offer from God is to trust Him. To place his trust in Him and stop trusting himself. Stop being so loyal to yourself and transfer that loyalty to God. If that's the desire of your heart, why don't you bow your head right now? Why don't we bow our heads right now? And come to Him and tell Him, Lord, pray with me.